In this podcast episode, Ben Shapiro offers an in-depth critique of the recent Super Bowl halftime show featuring Bad Bunny, delves into cultural and political controversies surrounding patriotism in America, discusses public health initiatives in Florida regarding food safety, touches on political scandals in the UK related to Jeffrey Epstein, and addresses ongoing issues in U.S. politics and economy. Expert guest Winston Marshall joins to provide insight into the UK political situation. Ben Shapiro begins by reflecting on the production quality of the Super Bowl halftime show, acknowledging its impressive staging and the charming aspects, such as the inclusion of a wedding performance and cultural elements like salsa dancing and children sleeping during the proceedings. He notes the pervasive presence of Spanish language and Latin culture in the program, emphasizing that many Americans speak Spanish and that celebrating diverse cultures is positive. However, he critiques the decision to exclude English from the performance, which alienated non-Spanish-speaking viewers. Shapiro also questions the political implications of Bad Bunny's performance, pointing out that the singer is not apolitical and often integrates political messages into his appearances, such as his previous Grammy moment referencing immigration issues. The portrayal of hardships in Puerto Rico, like power outages displayed via imagery of people falling off telephone lines, struck Shapiro as an unusual form of cultural pride. Ultimately, Shapiro stresses that the most significant and problematic element was the show's conclusion, where Bad Bunny introduced a parade of flags representing Western Hemisphere countries, including non-Latin nations like Canada and Haiti, culminating in the slogan, "Together, we're all Americans." Shapiro argues this conflates the term American geographically with citizenship, diluting the patriotism and unique identity of the United States. He asserts that a genuine celebration of America would have involved clear displays of American flags and gratitude toward the United States, especially given that Bad Bunny's fame and success are tied to the American context. While he respects parts of the show, Shapiro sees the political overtones and the media's dismissiveness of criticism as indicative of broader cultural and ideological divides. He contrasts the halftime show with the right-wing Turning Point USA All-American halftime event, which featured country music stars and drew millions online, highlighting the political polarization surrounding cultural events. Before moving to political and cultural topics, Shapiro discusses life insurance and health consistency, promoting Policy Genius as an easy way to obtain life insurance with personalized guidance. He also introduces Balance of Nature, a nutrition supplement company providing whole food powders rich in fruits and vegetables designed to help maintain daily health despite busy lifestyles, emphasizing the importance of consistent nutrition alongside exercise. Shapiro interviews Florida First Lady Casey DeSantis about the Healthy Florida First initiative, a public health campaign testing widely consumed food products for contaminants like arsenic, cadmium, mercury, and pesticides. She explains that while the FDA focuses on reactive investigations, Florida's program aims for proactive and transparent testing to ensure food safety. The testing uncovered concerning levels of heavy metals in common items such as baby formula, candy, and bread, with specific candies like Nerds and Jolly Ranchers exceeding safe arsenic levels if consumed regularly over time. DeSantis stresses the importance of aggregate consumption because children repeatedly ingest these products throughout the year. She notes some organic and healthier candy varieties showed lower contaminant levels, suggesting better manufacturing is possible. DeSantis calls for statutory reforms requiring manufacturers to test for heavy metals before releasing products, and wants the public to be better informed to protect children's health. The initiative hopes to promote accountability and support consumer choice toward safer products. Shapiro turns to recent controversy involving U.S. Olympic freestyle skiers Chris Lillis and Hunter Hess, who expressed ambivalence about representing the United States amid current political tensions and immigration enforcement critiques. Shapiro sharply criticizes their remarks, insisting that athletes representing the U.S. should exhibit straightforward patriotism. He argues that mixed emotional feelings about representing the country are inappropriate at the Olympics and suggests athletes unwilling to fully support the nation should refrain from competing. He cites President Trump's reaction, highlighting the expectation for a baseline level of love for America among public figures. Shapiro contrasts this call for patriotism with Democratic figures engaging in more extreme and divisive rhetoric, pointing to an ongoing cultural struggle over the meaning and expression of American identity. Shapiro reviews President Trump's comments on the halftime show and broader political issues, supporting some critiques, but urging more thoughtful articulation to build coalitions. He also discusses the controversy over a racist video tweeted by Trump on Truth Social, which featured altered images of Barack and Michelle Obama. While Trump condemned the racist content and had the post removed, Shapiro notes the incident illustrates pitfalls in political communication. Shapiro critiques left-wing racial rhetoric exemplified by Texas Representative Gene Wu's statements opposing the white man and calls for Republicans to pursue clear, consistent policy focused on public safety and immigration enforcement. He highlights efforts by Trump appointee Tom Homan to reduce sanctuary city obstructions and contrasts this with Democratic policies restricting ICE. He also touches on bizarre protests in Minnesota, where demonstrators allegedly threw sex toys at ICE vehicles, noting the absurdity and lack of coherent political strategy among some leftist activists. Meanwhile, media figure Don Lemon's self-comparison to civil rights leaders is mentioned with sarcasm, illustrating perceived incoherence in progressive narratives. Guest Winston Marshall joins to discuss the ongoing political turmoil in the UK connected to revelations about former UK Ambassador Peter Mandelson's association with Jeffrey Epstein. Mandelson, a powerful Labour Party figure, branded the Dark Prince of New Labour, maintained friendships with Epstein even after Epstein's conviction and reportedly engaged in illicit activity involving insider information for financial gain. The scandal has resulted in resignations within the government, including Mandelson's chief of staff, and threatens the tenure of Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Polling shows Labour's support plummeting, with the Reform Party rising as a potential new political force. Marshall explains the likelihood that Starmer will avoid calling a general election to prevent a Reform victory, but may instead resign after poor local election results, leading to a leadership contest within Labour. Marshall warns that potential successors to Starmer are further left and less competent, potentially worsening the party's fortunes. He describes this crisis as symptomatic of deep crony capitalism and corruption and a pivotal moment in UK politics. Shapiro briefly addresses economic uncertainties affecting the United States, noting a labor market slowdown with reduced hiring and increasing job retention among workers. Several factors contribute, including tariff policy uncertainty and high interest rates. A new challenge is the impact of artificial intelligence technologies displacing jobs, especially in the tech sector. Although stock markets have performed well, Shapiro stresses that economic anxiety remains significant among Americans, influenced by fears of job losses to automation and general market volatility. The Trump administration's approach, according to Shapiro, is to try to stimulate a strong economy ahead of elections by encouraging liquidity and investment, but much depends on how these complex factors evolve. Throughout the episode, Shapiro highlights the cultural divides intensified by politicized entertainment, racial rhetoric, and conflicting visions of American identity. The debate over the Super Bowl halftime show serves as a microcosm of wider tensions between left-leaning inclusivity and a conservative desire for traditional patriotism. Shapiro urges clearer communication and more grounded political strategy from Republicans to resonate with the broader American public amid a fractious media and political landscape.